Hi guys! So as you can see on the title down below, today's video is going to be about eye brushes. Yay! By the way guys, this glass jar used to be a candle, and I found out like the easiest way to take the residue out, like the rest of the candle stuff out, and clean it. If you guys want to see how I did that, go ahead and leave a comment down below and I'll go ahead and make a separate video for that. So like I mentioned, today's video is going to be all about eye brushes, and this is specifically for like Asian eyes or eyes that are shaped similar to mine, which is my eye shape is kind of like, I do have double eyelid, but it's very small and it's barely visible. Like, I mean, it's not like a monolid or anything, but I do have like a small space to work with, which actually is a little bit more difficult to work with because it's like there but not really. I do have quite a few brushes that I recommend. I mean, obviously I'm not telling you to get every single one. I'll go ahead and explain as I show you guys throughout the video. The very first brush I recommend is this brush, and this is called Shading Brush from Real Techniques. So this is actually one of my absolute favorite shading brushes, probably like my favorite shading brush ever. It's so perfect for eyelid. Like, I feel like it's perfect for any eyelid. It's big enough and small enough at the same time. It picks up a lot of pigment and it literally like packs on eyeshadow color onto your lid, and I feel like this brush is just so powerful for like the size. And speaking of the size, it's like so perfect to carry. I have literally like 7 of these. Obviously while I freelance for like brides or whatever, I literally carry like 7 and I use them all because I love this brush so much. Although it is a shading brush, you can still use it to like blend too, so definitely recommend this brush for sure, forever. You need this in your life. Next brush is this Sigma brush, and this brush is called Small Tapered Blending Brush, and it's E45 brush. The reason why I picked one of this brush is because if you see it closely, you can see that it kind of like it's sharpened at the tip, and this is very important for like the corners. If you have like a thicker eyelid space to work with, or no eyelid space to work with, or eyelid space like mine, which is very limited, it's basically very like precise. So you can use that little slant where it's pointed at the end to still have like heavy amount of color on the outer corner, but still like brought into the inner corner, so there's like a nice transition. So this is very good to work with that. Now, I wouldn't really recommend blending with this brush because it's not something where you can like buff it or anything. Again, mostly because it's tapered. You do have to watch out and see which are like buffing brushes and which are like tapered blending brush like this. So outer corner. Next, I'm going to show you these 2 brushes, and this one is called E30 brush, and it's the buff and blend brush, and this brush is called E44, and it's called the firm blender brush. Now, the reason why I'm showing you these 2 together is because, as you can see, like these 2 brushes are different. Like this one is tapered slightly, and this one is just kind of like flat. Like earlier that I showed you guys, this one is tapered, but it's not as pointed like the one that I showed you before was like this, and this one that I'm showing you is kind of like this. So this versus this, there's a big difference because this one you can actually blend as you're doing what I've explained before, like on the outer corner, because it's not as so precise like this, as opposed to if you were to this and try to blend with it, you can't, because that little corner is going to try to blend. That's not going to work. It's kind of rounded compared to the other one like I mentioned before, so you're still packing on color and precisely applying the color so that it stays bold but still blending it at the same time. So this one you can kind of like work this way as opposed to the one that I showed before. Like this one, you just kind of like sweep it in. I'm just going to show you the difference between this is the one I showed you before, and this is the one that I've just explained. Now comparing these two brushes, you can see that this is definitely more rounder, and now this one is called Buff and Blend because that's really what you do. It's not tapered at all, so you're just gonna go ahead and buff, blend, 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 blend. And with Asian eyes, we do have a lot more upper space like this area to work with, so we have to blend it and make sure that there's no harsh lines, because if you just leave that harsh line on top, it's so visible compared to someone with a thicker lid space. Like if they were to have a thicker double eyelid, if it's not blended properly, it looks totally meh. If you were to use like all over blending brush, which is a little bit more flowy, those brushes are just going to lightly blend, but as opposed to this, which is a little bit heavier brush, it's just going to blend all those colors that you just put on your eyes and make them all work with each other. Again, it works on every types of eyes, but especially for Asian eyes, definitely needs something like this where you can blend out all of those heavy lines on top. Now the next brush I'm going to show you is the MAC 222 brush, and it looks like this. Now this brush is what I was kind of talking about before, where it's like a light flowy brush. So mostly worked right on the bottom of your brow bone, so that everything just kind of like blends evenly everywhere, as opposed to the one that I showed you before. That's not it. This one. You see how like this one is a lot heavier than this? So something like this will help with like the flowy blend, where you just want everything to just kind of, you know, blend it and have a nice transition to the top. So if you were to go from dark to light this way, this will definitely help, you know, give that nice flow. And this will help with the colors that you've applied on the lid to blend in nicely with each other. So yes. Next, this brush is, you probably see this brush like in every one of my tutorials, but it's the pencil brush, and this is by Sigma as well. It's called the E30 brush, and I just kind of use this to work on the small lid space on the eyelid, and I just want to blend within the eyelid. Like I don't want to go anywhere on the top, I just want to work with that little space that I have below. Then I use this because it's small enough to do that, and it's not going to blend everywhere. Like if it were to be a bigger brush, it would just blend everywhere with each other. But this brush is so like sharp and precise that I just, you know, like to use it like a pencil, like just working on the lid itself, and you know, that's it. Now I recommend this brush especially for monolid ladies, because I understand that when you wear eyeliner, like naturally really small line, and then when you open your eyes it just disappears, nothing's there, it doesn't look like you're wearing anything. Instead of packing on like super thick eyeliner, you can actually use this brush to smudge as well. Let's say if you wore a thin eyeline, just a tight line, and you want to go ahead and, you know, create that thickness so it's kind of visible when you open your eyes. You can go ahead and use either like an eyeshadow or like a cream base eyeline, and then you can just go ahead and smudge this out so it's a little bit more natural instead of like a harsh eyeline. So definitely recommend this for my Asian ladies. Now my next brush is kind of like another eyeliner brush. This is the MAC 210 brush. It's like so small and thin, you probably can't even see it, but I just mainly recommend this for like, you know, gel eyeliner, or you know, like a liquid eyeliner if you don't like to use the actual liquid brush itself. I've noticed that Asian women like to use gel eyeliners, and they like to use something like this, like an ankle brush like this, which is fine. But if you know, want like a natural thin line and you don't have a lot of space to work with, kind of like mine, a thin brush like this will do its job. Because it's so precise and thin, you'll definitely get your natural thin eyeliner, as opposed to if you were to use something like this. This is a lot thicker, and I mean, unless you've mastered the art of eyelining with angled brush like this, then you know, you do you. But I just personally like to use something like this so you have a little bit more control over it. By the way, this is the Anastasia number 12 brush. It's with the spoolie in the end, and you guys see me use this all the time for my eyebrows. So if you like something like this on your eyebrows and it has a spoolie at the end, super handy dandy. So that is all for my all about eye brushes, mostly for Asian eyes video.